Hello and welcome to the CX Files podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hillary. John Devlin is the founder and CEO of Ascensos. He's based in the UK, but the company has facilities across Europe, and when we spoke, he was at the office in Romania. He's got a long background in the customer experience and BPO industry, having founded Becogent in 2002, and then selling that business to Teleperformance in 2010. He's also spent time on the board of Albion Rovers Football Club, and as a season ticket holder myself at my local club, I know that the football business is highly focused on the fan experience. In the interview, John talks about retaining the human touch in customer service, even with so many emerging technologies all around us. But he also explores the importance of using RPA to reduce repetitive tasks and integrating new channels, such as the Amazon Echo, into a customer service program. Okay, let's go straight to the interview with John Devlin. Okay, John, thanks for appearing on the podcast. I think maybe before we start going through the interview itself, could you just introduce Ascensos for the listeners, in case they're not aware of the business and your focus areas?
Yeah, of course, Mark, thanks. Of course, I can do that. Yeah, Ascensos is one of Europe's fastest growing BPOs. We opened for business in 2014, and we remain today an independent and privately owned business, now with 6 operations across the UK, Romania and the Netherlands, currently employing 2,000 colleagues and providing customer services across a range of channels and propositions into 20 retail and e-commerce brands in particular. Our business was the outcome of a previous business that we had, which was Becogent, that we grew over a 10-year period in the UK before being acquired by number one in the BPO space by Teleperformance in 2010. And we then put the idea of Ascensos together in 2013. And as I said, we've had a phenomenal success over the past 5 years.
Okay, that's great. And I know that speaking in the past, you've talked about companies rushing into their adoption of different technologies that people are using to improve CX, especially things like automation and artificial intelligence. Could you maybe elaborate on some of the main mistakes that you've seen in this area then?
Yeah, well, what we see is many businesses selecting tech for tech's sake. Really, it can CTO, CEO, dare say, acting a bit like a kid in a candy store. So much choice and so much mixed messaging out there. And a lot of tech choices are made not really with the customer or the client in mind. At Ascensos, it's vital that we remain independent and agnostic. So we work across a diverse range of retail clients, all with different ambitions as to their customer proposition, all at different stages of their evolution. And we need to remain agile enough to augment our technology with that of our clients and also that of select third-party specialist providers that we use. Our solutions have to be credible. They have to provide measurable differentiating value to our clients. And I think that's a real difference. It has to be a real tangible benefit to our clients and their customers. Being a young, entrepreneurial, forward-thinking business, we do need to box clever. We can't make too many mistakes with investing in the wrong technology, and we need to deliver real bespoke solutions. And to do that, we can't be restricted by generic global agreements. It's all about remaining agile and independent for us.
Do you think that a lot of people are just getting distracted by the amount of different types of technology? I mean, is there a better, maybe a more process way driven to achieve or measure transformation?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a case of being distracted by tech, but I don't think we should forget about the value of human interaction. I mean, ask anyone to tell you about a great customer service we've experienced recently, and 9 times out of 10, maybe 99 times out of 100, they'll tell you about a person, whether that's face-to-face or via a contact centre, but they'll tell you about a person that's really gone that extra mile and has delivered above and beyond expectations. And I think that's where we can achieve maximum impact, by using tech creatively, by blending it, by augmenting it with highly skilled, highly engaged colleagues to deliver a real wow for our customers. In real world terms, at Ascensos, we've invested significantly in RPA application and development, and partnering with UiPath in particular to simplify processes and make life easier for our colleagues, make life easier for our customers, because that reduction in customer effort is where the real gains are to be made.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I suppose a lot of the time when we read about the robots taking over the contact center, we're thinking more of the automation of the customer process. But you're saying that you can actually achieve a great deal by focusing on the employee.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's that technology underpinning the highly engaged, highly skilled employee who's able then to focus on delivering great customer outcomes, but also delivering more complex responses to complex resolutions, and eliminating some of the repeatable, predictable contacts that maybe traditionally in the past at contact centres were hamstrung by.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you mentioned that you were supporting a lot of retail clients, and I mean, retail is such a fast-moving business right now, and the processes to support those customers are getting so much more complex than it used to be when the focus was just on voice calls. I mean, what are some of the challenges you've seen emerging because of this kind of customer expectations for a 24/7 omni-channel?
Yeah, I mean, if we flip the challenge on its head and view it as an opportunity, then I think there is a proper opportunity in the market at the moment, but building real brand value in the retail space. As you say, it's a very competitive space to operate in. There's a lot of disruption in that space, a lot of brands who are evolving and some who are dying because they don't evolve. And there's two things central to building real brand value. In my eyes, it's creating trust and transparency. Trust and transparency are absolutely top of the agenda in all walks of life, really, as we go into the next decade. If you consider the political backdrop in the UK or even in the US, I guess, then it's that trust and transparency that is sadly lacking across the media. Fake news is prevalent, and the general public don't know who to trust or what to believe. I think this applies equally in business and in our world of customer service. Consumers are crying out for brands that they can believe in, brands that are honest, authentic, responsible, and that demonstrate integrity. In other words, brands that deliver on their brand promise. And I think that's again where customer service and the right combination of technology and human response can step in and make a difference.
Do you think that trust has also changed the business entirely for a company like yourself? I mean, if we go back a decade, the RFP process was really focused on cost and who can create the most efficient contact center processes. But now we're seeing like a higher level of need. People need the kind of expertise that guys like you have got.
Yeah, we spend more of our time actually helping our clients in the retail space build their customer charter. From customer service being central to that. So we're not there to just manage volume interactions on their behalf. Obviously, we still have to do that, but it is the alpha and the omega. We are creating the customer charter. We're developing the customer proposition and the solutions that hang from that. and then providing the response to manage the contacts that come as a result of that customer charter. But absolutely, brand loyalty, lifetime value are central to that. And the only way you can deliver loyalty to a brand or a business or a political party or a media outlet is through individuals having trust in it and it being completely transparent as to how that trust is managed and delivered.
Yeah, and because then that idea of, say, lifetime value, like lifetime customer value or total cost of ownership, ideally we want to be managing the customer interactions using some sort of metrics like this. But when we see a lot of contact centres, they're still kind of focused on how long does it take to get the customer off the phone, and can we handle the call? Can we resolve the problem on the first call, and all this kind of stuff. But that doesn't seem to take into account, what you're talking about, building trust in a brand and building a sort of lifetime of connection to that brand. How do we redesign the metrics to actually do that?
It's a great question, and I agree, by the way, that our industry certainly isn't short of metrics and data. Everything is measured and then measured again. Are we really measuring and by consequence managing what matters? What matters is customer happiness, customer delight in what they've delivered or what you've delivered as a brand. I've been working in a space for 20 years. I've got a real view on a very wide and diverse spread of what brands and other providers are doing well and maybe not so well. So are we measuring the right behaviours? And in the context of this discussion, how are we deploying AI and RPA to help us measure what really matters? How are we using AI and RPA to help us gain insight into what really matters? And what really matters is what that customer thinks of us as a brand, the happiness they feel. Very rarely we see anyone talking about customer delight and customer happiness. I think a lot of people in the BPO space and the CX space are still talking about NPS and CX, I guess, in isolation. But really that level of customer happiness and loyalty to a brand is what matters. And I think you're right, we have to find a way to be able to measure those behaviours, those traits, those attributes to create that brand value, like someone like Harley Davidson. Everyone always mentions Harley Davidson, obviously, but they've got real brand value that's built over generations, and I think that's again what's required, for retail businesses as we go into the next decade.
Yeah, there's companies like Harley Davidson, Nike, Apple, all these kind of companies that they don't really have customers, they just have fans. And I guess that's the ultimate goal for any brand is, how do you make people pay more money for your product just because they want your product?
Yeah, but absolutely bang on, and it's at that point, you've got value, you've got advocacy that goes way beyond just a purchasing transaction or an online e-commerce transaction. And I think that's what the brands that we're working with aspire to and are on a journey towards.
So do you think that, instead of the kind of after-call survey that, most people find it quite annoying, they just want to hang up the call, you see a lot of brands that are using that to try and get their NPS numbers. Can we just listen? Can we have an AI system listening in and telling us, 94% of the conversations, the customer seem to be happy with the outcome?
A lot of it's out there already, isn't it? We do a lot of social listening through some of the social sentiment analysis that we pull on behalf of not just the retail clients we directly work with, but maybe with their competition as well. So a lot of that data is out there. It's readily accessible. You don't actually need to ask the consumer. You don't need to ask the customer. They're telling you and you just need to listen. You need to listen to what they're telling you through the general narrative, the general conversation that exists on the social channels. So if you can pull that data, if you can manage that data, if you can draw some real powerful and meaningful insights from that data, then I don't think you need to go back and ask the customer an after contact survey or an NPS score at that point, because there's bigger data out there telling you that narrative, explaining that story, if you would just listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, any customer who's unhappy with the product is bound to go and tell everybody on their social media.
And equally, those who have loved their experience are very quick to share that on social, maybe not as readily as a complaint or a negative experience reaches social media, but there's a lot of compliments out there on social media too, and I think there's enough data there to allow us that access to the customer sentiment without having to ask them specifically.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, just finally then, because we're right at the end of the year, Christmas is around the corner. What are the sort of emerging trends or challenges you're expecting to see coming down the road in this area next year in 2020? And what are you most looking forward to working on?
Yeah, well, I mean, aside of this increasing need for trust and transparency, some of the other key trends that we're experiencing and essential to our objectives is the investment in RPA. We're removing the routine and the predictable, and thereby increasing the attention on the complex and the ambiguous. I think this is driving a need for more highly skilled human workforce, but possibly less of them, which is a change in the outsourcing space, driving higher value, but less requirement for seats, less requirement for human resource. So there's a distinct change in face of the workforce as we go into the next decade, and I don't really see that slowing down as we continue to augment assisted technology solutions along with our live agent solutions. Then we're going to see a changing face to the demographic of our workforce. That's for sure. Yeah. We're also seeing the emergence of voice technology, I guess, having its day at long last. If I go back 20 years, it was a big breakthrough in terms of speech analytics and speech recognition then, but maybe it didn't work as well as it was sold, but it's having its day at last now. This can be through simple chatbot applications that exist today and are doing what they need to do. The ongoing rollout of intelligent speakers in the smart connected home environment. Everyone probably now has something of the equivalent of Amazon Alexa at home, and that's only going to continue in terms of the deployment of that technology, or possibly through more complex integration of voice biometrics, looking to remove what I would see as being very clunky processes around about ID and V at the start of conversations with customers. Such processes create a lot of customer effort. If we move channel and then you have to repeat the ID and V process, it can be very clunky, very frustrating for a customer. They don't understand why that journey isn't connected and seamless, and it should be. So that integration of kind of voice biometrics to identify the customer, to take effort out, is going to be life-changing in our space, but also looking at how voice biometrics can then look at next best product or next best conversation to have with a customer to drive sales, because everyone avoids the subject nowadays of selling in a contact centre environment. It's somewhat of a taboo subject, but retailers exist to sell product, and we need to find ways to help them sell product rather than shy away from selling product. So if we can make it easier, can make the journey more joined, and make it more empathetic, then I think retailers stand a better chance of being able to sell the product through their contact centre and online channels. And I guess lastly, looking forward, if everyone doesn't have an eye firmly on it, then they should have is the rollout of 5G technologies into the industry, into the world, and the vast implications and opportunities that will bring. Going to be game changing for everyone, really, and we need to get across that. In our space, it will present many opportunities, but as with supercars, the faster they go, the bigger brakes they're going to need. And I think that it's a huge opportunity, but it will present significant risk as well. So we need to build some really robust security controls around about online interactions, because the faster the technology goes, the faster the risks and the security implications are as well. But I think 5G is definitely going to have a massive impact in our space over the next 12 to 36 months.
Yeah, I think the combination of Internet of Things with 5G is really going to be a game changer. Yeah, for sure. Specifically for Ascensos, looking into 2020, we're looking to further expand our proposition both in the UK and in Central and Eastern Europe, where we have a presence at the moment. We're already committed to laying down an additional 400 seats in the UK, and we're actively looking at our nearshore operations for multilingual services going into next year as well, Mark. So it's an interesting period for us as we continue to grow. We have a huge momentum at the moment. And we're very acquisitive as a business as well about finding the right ways in which we can grow. So it's an interesting time for us looking at the emergence of these technologies that are going to have a massive part to play in our future, as well as continue to deliver and grow the core services that we have today. Thanks for listening to the CX Files podcast. Please take a moment to review the podcast because this helps other listeners to find it. And if you have any suggestions, then get in touch with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm at Mark Hillary with 2 L's, or just search Google for Mark Hillary.